Good evening and welcome to Jackal Garage. I'm your host, Mike, and today I am flying solo. Jeff could be with us today, unfortunately. He's a little under the weather, and I need to just do a mic check real fast. Flying solo. There we go. The mic is working. So I had to check on my cell phone, make sure things were working. So anyways, I'm flying solo today. So we're just hey, how you doing, Adam? So I'm just going to kind of bring you up to speed on some of the projects I'm working on. Got the Erikenstein, got the good evening, David. I hope he feels better soon too. Right now, it's just it's not a good time to get sick, just in general. So it's just such a bad time. Anyways, so I'm going to kind of bring you guys up to speed on the Erikenstein and the other car. Plus, on Facebook, I share, or not on Facebook, sorry, on Discord, I shared a photo of my next project, my next inspiration project. So I'm going to start working on that, kind of get you guys up to speed on that. How's it going? Reporting in from the slow day at the store. Steve, you're back to work at the shop. That is good news. Yeah, today was quite the interesting day. So the guys that are chimed in on comments, probably, I know you guys all live locally. Hopefully, we got some other people that are watching that are also local. But yeah, we got hail today. It was white stuff was falling from the sky, which is not normal for our weather. Us down in the valley, we don't like that cold stuff. And I was actually outside working in it. Unfortunately, it kind of came up out of nowheres, and it just pelted me to the point I couldn't even do my job anymore. I had to just call it quits, go sit in my truck, and just wait for it to pass. It was so bad. Need more of the storm to kick. It's supposed to rain. This weather's supposed to continue. On Friday, we're supposed to have another storm moving in. So maybe we'll get some more snow. But I came home and my backyard, there was all this white stuff on the ground. So that's always kind of crazy. So yeah, we had some interesting weather today, and it was cold. It's supposed to only be like a high of 50 tomorrow, which for us down in the Phoenix area, 50's bad. We freeze. We don't do the cold weather well. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to kind of jump into things. There's not a lot to chat about. Nothing new on A Billion Suns. Again, that's hopefully the rule book comes out next month so we can dive into it. Hopefully there'll be some more preview videos on it. I'm really excited to start working on some battleships and some spaceships, and I really I really hope the game captures kind of the excitement that Gaslands has captured for all of us that have played Gaslands. It's just such a great game, and it's very cinematic, and it's just fun to play. So I'm hoping A Billion Suns does the same thing. We will find out once the rules come out and we have a chance to dive into them and take a look at them. So what I'm going to do real quick is I know every time I turn my overhead lights on, you guys get a blinding glare of light when I turn my overhead lights on, because they're pretty powerful lights and they kind of light up everything. So I'm going to just turn my camera off real quick, get my lights on, and hopefully the white balance happens kind of quickly while I'm off screen. So that way when I go back on screen, you guys don't get that blinding light. So I'm going to something new I want to play around with. And that's what I was hoping to do, is you guys would not get the blinding light every time I flick on my overhead lights. I've always felt bad about that, especially when I watch the videos back afterwards. I would get the blinding lights. I'm like, I need to stop that. Before we jump into any of the car builds or anything, I want to show you guys some new cars. Hot Wheels we're starting to see the 2021 Hot Wheels roll out, and unfortunately, they're hard to find at first because all the people that buy them up and sell them on the internet just kind of grab up all the new stuff and get it on the Facebook marketplaces and on the internet as quickly as possible so that they can start selling them for $5 a piece instead of the 99 cents that they are. Wait, your lights light everything up. Yes, my lights light everything up. Good evening, Joe. Thank you for joining us, sir. This is Lethal Diesel, and this is another one of those cars that I think fits kind of quickly right into Gasland. So I've already opened it up using my fancy little technique of using the acetone so that I can save the packaging. But this is the Lethal Diesel. So this is kind of a cool, let's zoom in on it for you guys so you can get a better look at it. It's kind of a cool chopped, I don't know, armored car looking thing. Up front here, you've got, you could say it's kind of the exposed suspension. You got this cool engine that's all chromed out, which you all know how I feel about that. We're going to have to dechrome that. But the engine is built right into the windows. So you can see the windows are mirrored. You can see my lights reflecting off of those, lighting everything up for Joe. And that engine is actually built into the window. So obviously once we strip the chrome off of all that, we'll be able to do something different with the windows, maybe put some mesh in there or some armor plating or something to make it look a little bit better. But you're not going to have the clear windows. It's just got a cool look to it, especially these pipes coming out the back. Again, this will be easy to find once they've been on the market for a while. So I've learned a lot about the Hot Wheels collectible side of things over the time I've been collecting. And when new cars come out, like this is a 2001 new car, it's really hard to find them at first. But as time goes on, the collectors, once they've flooded the market for a while, things will slow down and then you'll be able to find them. Because at first I couldn't find an Erikenstein to save my life. Now I pass up, every time I go shopping, I'll pass up like 10 of them because they've just flooded the market. So this will be another one. So if you see it, grab it up. You might, it's got that kind of cool look to it. You got these gas tanks back here, which I just think is kind of neat. What I'm probably going to end up doing with this one is I have to assume, I don't know for sure, that all this chrome stuff is one big plastic piece. So I'm probably going to cut these covers off, raise them up so they look like they're open, and maybe put some weapons back there sticking out and figure out something to do with the front to give it some weapons, maybe a nice ram or something. But this is a new car that's out. And like I said, it's called Lethal Diesel. And it's a neat car. You may want to grab one for yourself if you can find it. Obviously, some nice big wheels, some big old monstrous wheels in the back might look good on this. We'll see. We'll play around with it, but I want to crack one open, drill it out, and see what's inside and kind of show you guys a little bit more detail on them. I was working in the garage all day on Saturday, not all day, for a couple hours on Saturday. And didn't send any pictures up yet, David. Once I get it presentable, I'll put some pictures up on Discord so you can actually see my garage layout. But I am working on getting my garage set up so my drill press is, stuff is all stacked around the drill press. That is the Lethal Diesel. Another car that came out is See Me Rolling. So this is a new car for 2021. And this is a very unique car. Body-wise, it's kind of funky. But what's cool is there's a dice inside of here. And you can see this, you got this D6. This back wheel is a D6. And when you push the car, it will stop on a number. So for me, can you use the roof of that car? Maybe. I don't know. I don't. You probably could, Joe. It is a map. Yes, you could, but you'd have to get multiples of the car so that you could play. So, but yeah, you could do that. But yeah, this is just a neat little car. I picked it up because of the novelty that it's a dice. And if you guys know me, you know I enjoy dice. And first thing I thought is I need to get a bunch of these and just push them across the table when I'm playing. And that's what I roll. And instead of rolling dice, I'm just going to push cars around on the table for my dice. But it's a neat little car. It's got a really unique body. I don't know, more futuristic, dual engines inside of there. So I don't know. You could make this for Gaslands if you wanted to. It wouldn't be too hard. But to me, it was just a novelty of the dice inside. I just thought that was really neat. So if you find them, pick them up. You may enjoy this as well. You could actually take this out, flatten down the edges of the wheel, and make it just a regular dice for rolling, if you so desired. So anyway, it's kind of cool. And then also we're starting to see the next series of flying customs coming in. These are exclusive to Target. So if you go to Target, you can find these flying customs, and it's this unique packaging, more classic packaging. I got this one because again, the engine's in the back, so to me that's kind of a Gaslands feel. I haven't opened this one up. I actually want to get the set. If I can get the set and get a couple extras, I'll open one of these up. I definitely want to find that Volkswagen Bug. I'm a bug junkie. I really enjoy a bunch of bugs, so I'll get that. But we have a lot of just custom old muscle cars in this series. I think the earliest, the most modern cars is Monte Carlo SS, because it's an 86. Everything else is 70s and 60s. So, but there's a good set. But if you can find one of these, they're kind of neat, especially with that engine in the back. That kind of screams a little bit of Gaslands or kind of a custom build. And then that leaves that whole front end, because your engine's back there. It leaves that front end open so that you can mount some guns in there, do something in that front section, and just have a good time. So again, those are the flying customs. This is the only one I could find. Again, these cars are just coming out onto the market, and when they're just coming out onto the market, they're hard to find. But as time goes on, you'll be able to find them a little bit easier. Sometimes with these flying customs, because they're so exclusive at Target, it makes it a little bit harder. They get bought up a lot. So I bet you these are probably going to be hard to find, but I get that bug's going to be really hard to find, because anybody that goes in to buy them is going to buy them all up, because they're only sold at Target. It makes them hotter on the Facebook market groups and also on the eBay, because there's a lot of people that don't have a Target close by. So, but this is a nice set. Really cool cars. Yeah, Joe, get one of those cars, paint up a bunch of them, and you can play 40K. I don't know if your opponents would appreciate it that much, but it's up to you. All right, so we're going to jump in. Last week I left off. We're working on the Erikenstein, got it all washed. I think tonight what I want to do is I want to mess around with some rust effects. So I'm going to mess around with a little bit of the AK Interactive rust streaks. And I just want to get a few rust streaks onto the body, something to break up the gray and the wash. Just add a little bit more color, maybe get some rust effects inside the roll cages here, just to make it just to break up this gray color. So that's one thing we're working on there. Still got this bad boy. This is the conversion. So when I took the bone shaker, when I chopped the bed off, I just put it onto here. I'm drawing a blank on the name of this car, and I don't know why. Yeah, I'm just drawing a blank on the name of this car. So anyways, tonight I'm just going to start painting the body up. I've decided I'm going to leave this flat black. I may put some dusting powders, some weathering powders and stuff on this, just to kind of weather it down a little bit. But tonight I'm just going to start painting on it. But we do have the wheels set for the back, and I really like the way they look. And I actually added a tube to the front, so the front wheels have something more to go into when I put those on. So that's going to be that. But we're going to start with this Volkswagen Bug. So if you saw on the Discord channel, I posted a picture of a Volkswagen Baja, and it had an old plain engine in the back. And when I saw that, I immediately got excited about that car because I had one of these laying around, which is it's called Dogfighter, and it's old Hot Wheels from like the 90s. And I got that engine. So I'm like, chop that engine off, clean this part up, and then glue that engine on. And then this Baja, I also had the thought of covering up the sunroof opening, extending this tube out, and putting a railgun inside of that. And that's going to be kind of this build. It's going to be more just custom work than anything. Covering that up, extending out the tube, and then adding this engine to the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. This is all plastic, so there's not much to this. So there's not going to be a lot of work on cutting that off. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this part yet. I do like this shroud and these side pieces, so I don't necessarily care for the airplane body. So I may cut that off and add this to something else. It could be a cool front end to a car, just to create some kind of a cool look to a car. So I do like that. I just got to figure out what I want to do with it. It's just a nice little shroud that I could do a lot with it. But for right now, that's just going to go off to the side. This I actually have screwed together. So we will unscrew it. Voila, just like that. And so what I'm thinking about doing is I'll put a piece of plastic card. I'll just kind of hold it up there. I'll trace it out, and then I'll cut it and kind of glue it in place. And then I'll probably use epoxy sculpt from there to kind of clean up everything. I'm gonna have to try to cut it to fit as best I can. But I just want to cover that up, and I think that'll look cool with that extended out. But for this here, I need to take it out to my belt sander, kind of touch it to the belt sander to flatten out the surfaces, obviously cut off the exhaust. And then we're literally just going to cut this off and add it to the back. And I just got to figure where I want to cut this to make it look the best. And so I'll start back here. And if I don't like that shroud piece, then I'll start moving it up. But I have a couple different cut spots. I could cut it just right here, keeping this extended piece right there, this gap right there on the plastic, and then glue it to the back of the engine, which would work fine. So let's get my snippers. My snippers. So if we got this on, again, we're just toying around with some of the different parts and components. It doesn't want to go back together again. Yeah, that's sticking way too far out. And that's kind of what I was thinking when I started back there. But you got to start someplace. And I figured it'd be best to start from the back and work my way up. As you can see, the propeller is held in there like that. Piece of plastic right there. So we can just take this off real fast. And because we'll probably end up just gluing the propeller on in place. I don't necessarily need it to spin. That might be a little bit too distracting for me. I might just sit there playing with it all day. So So yeah, I think what we'll end up doing is just trimming this out. So it's just best to use the clippers. As stuff flies across my room. And I found it. That's amazing. Normally I never find that stuff. All right, so we got this. I think that's going to look a lot better on the back. But, you know, this whole thing, I just want this big old motor sitting back here, just like that picture on the Discord channel that I posted up. And I think this is going to look just fine. Obviously, I got to clean all that up to give myself a good gluing surface. Once that's all cleaned up, I'll literally just going to glue that right onto the metal because it's a pretty flat, it's just going to be a flat surface right there. And this thing's just going to glue right on. Boom, done. And that will just give me my big old propeller engine on the back of this, just like that. What do you guys think? Oh, that's neat. I'm liking it. So let me pull out some scrap. Now, the other thing is I want to keep this other piece, so I'll kind of look this plane over before I cut it up. I like these, you know, these are kind of like traction bars with these shocks on them. So these might be good little pieces to add to another build, just as a detail piece because they look kind of nice. So I'll try to reuse as much of those parts and pieces as I possibly can moving forward. So let me grab some plastic card real fast. So it would be real easy to glue this from the top down, but that's obviously not going to work well. So I need to go from underneath. So we're just going to cut off a piece real fast so that I can get it underneath the body so I can trace it out and try to get a better fit. All right, just like that. So because of the way this car was built, you can see these pieces right here. They look like, I don't know, just some sort of part of the casting process are actually kind of getting in the way of me being able to get the plastic card up in there. So I'm going to have to trim this down till I can do that. I have to protest. Jeff told us this was going to be Jackal Starport. It is going to be Jackal Starport. I just need to, we need to get the Starport rules up first. And then we're going to be all over that. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit off the other sides. Again, this is all, you know, this is trial and error. And this is what customizing is all about. Not going to get everything done on the first time. There's plenty of times when I've built something and had to rebuild something again and again just to get it to work. It is part of the hobby. I'm sure, you know, you guys with your 3D printers have those same challenges with, you know, you're printing stuff and it just, something goes wrong and you end up reprinting and reprinting. Actually, that worked out beautifully. So a little shy in the front, but there's not a lot I can do about that because of those pieces. These two little nodules right here that are holding it up from going in all the way. But I think if I just glue it in tight and then I can come in with epoxy sculpt, and then I'll just epoxy sculpt and fill in the top. you know, obviously I'll probably just put another piece of plastic card there, then do the epoxy sculpt. But I think we can just glue that in place, and I think we're good. I think we're going to have this all covered up. Super glue to the rescue. Hey, Steve, I don't know if you're still watching or not. If you happen to see Bo, you might want to tell him I found some Zappa-Gap. I know how much he loves his Zappa-Gap. I'm sure he would appreciate that. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue down on the sides that it's going to touch. It's not going to touch all four sides. Oopsie. And everything went south. Only when I'm doing this live on stream does this kind of stuff happen. And I glued my finger. Gosh darn it. It happens. It just happens. All right, there we go. So I'll just hold that in place for a second, let the glue dry as my fingers stick to everything I touch now. It's so much fun. So where is my... I'm going to go ahead and use some of my quick set stuff just so I can try to get this stuff to set up. There it is. All right. So we got the first piece in. And that's just kind of filling in the inside right here. That might create some issues when I put the body back on, because the roll cage is probably going to hit that, because the roll cage actually stuck out the top. And I think this car at one time might have had something else on top of the roll cage, or there might have been like lights or something. I don't know. It is where they folded it together, so it could have just been that's it and there was nothing else. But it is going to hit a little bit, and I think one of the easier ways to resolve it would be just to drill the holes out a little bit, or just push them in. Can I just push them in? Oh, just push that in a little bit. There we go. Problem solved. Look at me solving problems. Yeah, we'll just lower the roll cage and then I won't have that problem. So, yay, I fixed it. So we'll size it up a few times and just see where the ideal spot is for it to go. But to be honest with you, I think I'm good where it's at. So I may add a touch of glue to those. Just want to make sure they're straight. They look good. So yeah, boom, done, fixed. Whew. Having fun with that one. Just add a dab of glue there so they don't move around since I sized them up. And now from here, we're just going to add another piece of plastic card to that. And then after that, after it all dries, I'll give it a day or two to dry completely with the glues. Then I'll come in with epoxy sculpt, and I'll add epoxy sculpt to all that and smooth it all out. covering all the lines and everything. And then I'm just going to extend, I'm just basically going to take a piece of plastic card, bend it in a half circle, and just extend this fairing out. And I want to mount in a rail gun. And that's going to be the weapon for this car. It's actually going to be kind of cool, I think. Especially with that propellered, the big airplane engine in the back. Right now I'm trying to find my file. There it is. I saw some flashing that I wanted to get off, and I'm afraid if I don't do it when I see it, I'll probably miss it. There's just some flashing in that window. Oh, it's in both of them. So, boom, done. All right, let's cut some plastic. Again, I'm not trying to be precise with this. I don't think I need to be precise with this, since I already know I'm going to be covering this up with plastic, with epoxy sculpt. I can get away with being a little sloppy, and it's not going to hurt anything. Even with being so, that one fits better like that. So I can leave those big gaps there. All I'm trying to do with the plastic card is just add another layer to the top, so I don't have to use up as much epoxy sculpt when I glue this in. So that's all that's going to be. So let me get these scraps off my desk. I save all these bits and pieces because you just never know when you're going to need them. And then we're going to come in here and kind of flood this with the Zap-A-Gap. That kind of, there it goes. We're just going to kind of move it around, make sure we cover the surface real good. And then just going to pop that in place. Not looking for perfection on this. All I'm doing is adding another layer of the plastic to just fill up some of the space. So this way, when I come in with the epoxy sculpt and fill in the gaps, I'm just not using as much epoxy sculpt. And I got an extra piece of plastic here, which is always going to be helpful. And I can probably fill in that gap with just Zap-A-Gap. So that's kind of where we're going to be with this build so far. Let me get all this stuff off my desk. So tomorrow, when I get off of work, I'll go ahead and grind this flat and get this prepared and get the motor in. Then this will have time to dry. So then I'll come in and backfill all this with epoxy sculpt and start letting that dry and getting that sanded down and smoothed out, so that I can come in here and put the fairing on the front, or the housing on the front for the rail gun. And then from there, it's just going to be deciding on wheels and getting it painted. So that kind of wraps that up. Now we're just going to do some kind of routine painting. Figured I was just going to paint the machine gun barrels silver, and maybe some of the little bits and pieces, but the rest I'm going to leave black. I actually got to fix all that up. Hit the screening with some silver, get the engine painted up, get some of the parts and pieces painted silver. Since this is just going to be a blacked out car, I don't need to do anything else. Get the gas tank painted up. I got the wheels, the front wheels primed, and they're just kind of waiting on the side for me. So those need to get the rims painted. But I think just the flat black is going to look good for this car. And then I'll just kind of weather it up. Just add some dust effects and things like that. So I haven't really decided if I'm going to make this part of a team or if it's just going to be just another one of the random builds. Actually, I think this is going to Darren. So this is going to be just a demo car for the shop. But I think it's really going to show off some of the cool features that you can do when you start getting really creative with customizing your cars. Especially with those big wheels back there. That just looks awesome. Super happy with that. So yeah, we'll just paint up some of these random details. Nothing earth-shattering. Voila. Get that motor painted up. And I've got, outside of the Volkswagen Bug that I'm working on, I actually have 2 other cars on my list of things to do. Sorry, I got a little bit of silver on the edge of that, and I want to get it off. Just like that. But yeah, I've got a couple other cars ready to go on the side here. So I really haven't decided what I was going to do with them yet as far as weapons go. So I think once I get that decided, I will get those onto the table because I'm going to be wrapping up these cars pretty quickly here. The Erkenstein and this one. God, I really need to remember the name of this car. Do any of you guys remember the name of that? I'm drawing a blank on it. I have like 20 of them. The good thing here is there's not much to paint. Very little detail on this car. Oh, I guess I could have just looked at the bottom of it, huh? Mod rod. Geez, I feel better. Yes, the mod rod. Oh, dang it. It happens. I'm ready. Got it. Got it under control. I think his name was Larry. Could have been. Could have been Larry. All right. Got that done. Now I want to hit this gas tank. I'm going to start with a silver base on this gas tank, and then I think I'll end up painting it red. But the silver will just make the red pop a little bit better. Just give it a brighter undertone. Voila. Then we got a couple battery cables. I did a really terrible job priming this car. Seeing all kinds of light spots. So I think I'm going to go back in and touch up all that black. Do a little on the windows here, just to make them kind of pop out a little bit. Just like that. Yeah, I think that works. Not everything needs to be painted like crazy. You can get away with just doing some small details. Get the radiator painted. And I think I'm just going to come back and paint it all black. I see red doors and I want to paint them black. Going with a little Rolling Stones reference there, are you, Joe? Well, it's a good reference, sir. Coal black. This is quickly becoming my favorite black, and it's the Pro Acryl Coal Black. I know I like, the Corvus Black from GW is a good color too. There's something about this Coal Black is, well, first of all, I like the Pro Acryl paints. But I just love the way it goes on in covers. I think that's what it's kind of all about. All right, now we're gonna kind of clean up our lines inside there. Tasting paint. Because I don't think I really did a good job priming that. My wife is watching something crazy on TV. Because they're laughing hysterically. All right. So I think that's about all I'm going to do for the silver and black. And then I want to come in and just hit that gas tank with some red. I like the scale 75 flat black. I have not used this scale. I don't think I have the scale 75 flat black. So I'm going to have to track that down. I do have the metallic colors, which I do like. But I do not have the flat black. Oh, we're going to go with a bold red. Very smooth. Yes. I will say the Scale 75 paints are extremely smooth and they do dry really flat. So I will agree with that for sure, because that's what they do. Now comes the question: do I want to paint it to a true red, or do I want to leave some of that metal, that silver, kind of shining through to make it look a little bit more like a poorly painted? I don't know if that really shows too well on camera. No, I think I'm just going to paint it a good solid red. And like we learned at the glazing class on Wednesday, gotta let the paint dry between coats. Don't go crazy and just keep flooding it with paint. You will cause more problems than it's worth. So yeah, that's gonna be my splash of color. Is just gonna be on that gas tank. Everything else is gonna stay kind of just a flat black, and then I'll add in some weathering and take it from there. So that car is moving right along. The only thing I really got to figure out is what I'm going to do with the wheels, because these are actually rubber wheels, and I'm afraid paint on the rubber wheels may cause a problem. It may not stick. So I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do yet with these rubber wheels. Definitely probably just put some pigment powders on them to just make them look dusty and muddy and mucky. But don't know if painting them is actually going to accomplish anything. I think the paint might just peel off. So lastly, I'm just going to kind of experiment a little bit with using some of the AK Interactive rust streaks. Sorry, I'm drinking a lot of water today. First 4 hours of my day, I was presenting a class at work on animal control issues, things that how we do our job, and just teaching some of the officers so that when they come out to help us, they can actually help us and not be more of a burden. So I spoke for 4 hours straight, so my throat's a little dry. All right, so now we're going to mess around with a little bit of this AK Interactive stuff. To me, this stuff is just paint wood stain that they've just repackaged. I used to use wood stain for painting my miniatures back in the day. We had a process called dipping, and we would take models and do a base coat paint job on them. It's all kind of like contrast painting. We would and then dip them into a wood stain and knock off the excess, and it would do all kinds of great shading effects. Well, this stuff reminds me of all that paint wood stain that I used to use back then. So I still think that might be what they're doing. So this model we painted it, we washed it, and then I hit it with a clear coat, because before you start playing with paint thinner, you want to make sure you hit it with a clear coat. And then we're just going to wash the model with some of the paint thinner, and then dip it in the brush into the wood stain or, well, we'll call it their rusting, streaking effects to be polite. And then you just kind of dab it in, wipe off the excess off of your paintbrush. Might dip it in the thinner a few times, and then just slowly kind of pull it down. I don't like it up top there. I'm not happy with what I just did at all. But there we go. That looks better. Again, this is just, I don't use this stuff very often. And usually when I use it more as a wash effect. So I feel like I messed up. I kind of wanted a kind of a decent streak coming out the side of this door here. There we go. It's kind of what I was looking for coming out of that side of that door. Oh, can you guys see that? That's what I'm looking for right there. Just kind of a nasty streak coming out of the side of that door. Just adding a little bit of color to it. Now I kind of want to hit some of these areas on the roll cage. Just so I break up the color a little bit. And just to give it a little bit of something. Just a little something. I don't want to get too carried away with it. Just trying to break up that look. Oh, that door came out beautiful. That's what I was looking for right there. Okay, so I think I might want to add something here. So maybe we'll just take these bolts and we'll just add a little bit of rust down here and around these bolts. So we take off the excess. And not necessarily getting any of the rust effect onto the centerpiece. Just kind of like how they bolted it on. Maybe they just did a really bad job and scraped up the paint. And we have some of the black wash that is residual down here, so that adds to it a little bit up there. I'm liking how that comes out. So we're going to do the same thing over here. Just going to get it wet with the thinner. Going to dip my brush in there. I just want to add just a little bit right along there. I might even leave that a little bit heavy. Just for the heck of it. But you can kind of see as it dries, it's flattening out. This is one of those things you got to be patient with. So it's kind of flattening out, giving me that rust effect. Again, I'm just trying to add some, I guess we could say, texture or color to the flat gray, because, you know, flat gray is just flat gray. Again, we came up in here and we just added some of that color. So on this side, I don't necessarily want to repeat what I did. The main reason with doing this, I could get away with it because the gun's right here, so there's like heat and crap coming out. Um, Here, what we're gonna do is let's rust it up. Let's make it really rusty right here, just right through here. Just to kind of show that maybe because the gun's there and it's firing off of there, that it's causing some extra weathering. Again, the thing that's cool about this is you put too much on, you can take some of it off, and you can kind of, just wipe it off if you want. And it's just toning. It's just going to start toning and creating some different colors there for you. And again, it is, you're using paint thinner and you're using oil paints or an oil-based paint. So you can damage the undercoat. That's why we did the clear coat. So again, just trying to create, it's hard to see while it's wet, but that will dry out and should leave us with a nice color just like it did right there. And you can kind of see what we did here. I think now that that's had a little bit of time to dry, we're going to kind of break that up a little bit more. Cool. So here, let's do like a good size rusty rust look right through here. Let's make that look a little bit more kind of like what we did on the other side there. All right, I didn't really get enough paint on it or enough of the stain on it, so that's weird. The stain kind of parted ways. Again, not going to get too carried away. Needed a better way to hold this. Just adding some rust, and that's all we're doing here is just getting a little creative with the rust effect, adding some tone, adding some color, just kind of making it look like it's a wasteland vehicle, something that you would see cruising down the desert highways of the wasteland, getting ready for its next combat. Kind of hoping one day we'll all get together and get the chance to play. That would be awesome. So you guys know next Monday we're not doing a Jackal Garage. As I kind of shared with you guys, I'm going in for my second vaccination for the COVID virus. Mainly because of what I do, dealing with the public all day. And, I had a lady today, I went to her house, answers her door. She says she wasn't feeling well. It's like coughing right there. And luckily, I wear a mask whenever I make contact with the public. I'm just like, you probably shouldn't have answered your door and coughed. You could have had your daughter who's standing right behind you answer the door. But, who am I to judge? People just do what people do. Oh, that looks a lot better. Again, I'm just trying to add some color variance to all this. I just didn't like it just being that flat gray. So this just adds just a little bit of a streak, a little bit of a rust, like water's running off it, but just adding some color. You know, I guess we could say creating some interest in the car. So yeah, I think that's going to be about it for this. I don't think I want to do anything else. I don't want to repeat exactly the same thing I did over here. So maybe I'll just do a little bit right there in that corner. So yeah, so next Monday, nothing going on here. Just like that. I am not an expert at the weathering techniques. I would like to be more into it. I just need to practice more. That's what it's all going to boil down to. And I think what I'm going to do for this door is not necessarily streak it, but just kind of add a tint to it. Just by adding, just getting a little bit of the product and just kind of adding like a little bit of a, like rust is coming through. Looks like I peeled some of the clear coat off there. Yep, I did. Got a little too rough with it. Just adding a little bit of a rust. Actually, it looks fine though. It just makes it look, you know, a little color variant. That works. All right, I need to stop. If I don't stop, I'll keep doing this and doing it, and then I'm going to ruin it. And I think that's kind of the key to weathering, is just being able to say, I'm done. I've done enough. I don't want to damage it any further. I don't want to look any more wrecked than that. Let me clean off this paintbrush. Again, when I do this, I use a very cheap, you know, paintbrush that if I throw it away, I have no ill feelings about it. I'm not going to use one of my Winsor Newtons on that because I'm dipping it in a Tamiya thinner. I could have also used mineral spirits, or I could have used a variety of different things. But for this, I just used my paint thinner. I like how that door turned out. Actually, that screw up, I think is going to work in my favor. It's just going to give it kind of a weird paint effect. Like the paint didn't quite erode off from there. Could be Bondo underneath it. Again, just added some little details, some little streaking, just some color effect. This was the big one I wanted to do, simply because the rail gun is going to be spewing out bullets, and there's going to be a lot of heat coming from there. I figured that would be a good spot for a rust effect. Oh, as I knock it over. Just added some difference back here. Just added some color variance. You don't have to get crazy with your weathering. I think this is going to work just fine. Just a little bit of a color difference. So yeah, now we just let this sit for 24 hours, and it's done. Anyways, you guys, that's about all I got going on. I just had these 3 little projects I wanted to get going. During the week, I'll go ahead and get this epoxy sculpted up and get it sanded down and start working on that piece. This should be a quick project to get underway. This is pretty much done. There's not much more. I'm going to give the gas tank a couple more hits of the red, and then I might paint the straps that are holding the gas tank down a nice silver. And I maybe put some weathering powders on this and just kind of make it look dusty. I don't want it to look dirty. I just want it to look dusty. Hey, David, thank you. You're welcome, and have yourself a great evening, buddy. So I think that's where I'm going to go with that. And that's probably what I'm going to end up doing with these wheels, is just putting some dusting powder on them and maybe hit them with some of the stuff that it fixes, because I know the the powder effects and the stuff they use to affix the powder effects. They do use it on model tanks, on the rubber tracks on those tanks, so it might work on this just fine. And then we'll finish up this air. I'll have this Erkenstein done in no time. Again, I think those rust effects came out just the way I wanted them to. So we'll let this dry a little bit, and I'll take another look at it. And I think the only thing I might do is maybe some rust effects up through here, but that's going to be it. And then I've got 2 more cars that I'm going to start getting to work on. These 2 right here for this truck, because it has this big box back there. I'm going to put a mounted machine gun onto it, kind of like this is holding all the ammo. So there'll just be a mounted. It's just going to be a dude standing back there with the gun shooting it. And probably going to put some, big old tires on the back and whatnot. That's about it for that. And then this one, I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided what I'm going to do to it, but when I do, I will let you all know. So I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras back. Woo, that's a lot of light on my face. Oh, that's better. All right, you guys. Well, thank you all for hanging out with me. Just in that little bit of time that we were hanging out and painting, I got a lot of stuff done. Got my bug underway, got some weathering done on the Erkenstein, and got a little bit of work done on the mod rod. So it doesn't take long. If you can get an hour a night in on your hobby, you'll get a lot of stuff done. And it's an old thing that's floated around in the community for a long time. If you can paint, work on your stuff for an hour a night, you'll get stuff done. Adam, you're very welcome. Thank you very much. You have yourself a wonderful night. And thank you for hanging out with me. And hopefully you got some good stuff done as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut out. Let you guys get on with your evening. I'm thinking I'm just going to go curl up under a blanket because it's actually cold in Arizona right now. So it's unusual for us to be so cold. So I'm just going to kind of enjoy the weather. So thank you all very much. You all have a great night. Tune in Wednesday night. We'll be doing the Wolf's Den with Jeff and myself, and I believe Darren will be joining us. And then on Saturday, we're right back to What's New with Mike and Jeff. So you all have a great night, and talk to you later. Bye.